So we start with the first case study presentation. This is on analytics and data-driven learning. We have Bhavesh Chandaria. He's a group head learning, training and development from Safal Group. He has flown all the way from Africa to be a part of this conference. Please welcome Bhavesh for his presentation. Welcome, Bhavesh.
I'm a Mumbai boy, the city of speed, because we don't have time. And what happened to me when I walked in first time in Kenya in 2004, patience, this is Africa. I would rush into the things and people would say, calm down, how are you, how's your town, how's your cow, how's your village? And then if you rush into things, you're not good. And if you have to train my buddy over there, you need to first attend a funeral, because then you are one of them. You need to play football, you need to speak a Swahili song, and more so in Ethiopia, if you don't have the coffee the way they want to, you're not accepted. More so in Rwanda, Kigali, youngest nation, 24 years, surviving out of genocide, and now having 66% of ministers as women. There, unless you respect the local culture, you can't go ahead. So let me narrate a few of my African escapades. And my friend from SAIL, we are just 6 years older to you in Africa, Safal Group. So we have some companies which are as young as 6 decades, and there are some toddlers which are as young as 6 years or 10 years. So a huge variety, a baggage of socialism, a lot of stuff. But while we get there, can you please log in to hypersay.com? You say would be revealed. Okay, I want you to be anonymous because I may ask naughty questions. In Africa, it's allowed. All right, what is the ideal time for an attentive and effective span of attention? Some very big myths I'm going to break. So can we have some kind of score coming out of it? It's a trick question by the guys from Adobe and the likes. And they want to shrink our attention span. Now, how many of you today used social media in the toilet in the morning? How many of you did not use social media in the toilet? Please tell me. How many of you did not use social media in the toilet? That means you've not gone to toilet. I am not finished reading the good stuff people sent me. Now, who cares? When we are on social media and the ones that we like, where is attention span? Where is the shrinking attention span? So it is a myth. Time is a relative concept. How long a minute is depends on which side of toilet door you are. If you're outside, you had Punjabi curry yesterday, and you got to, and somebody's occupied it, you dumb 1 minute is too long. And if you're inside and you're on social media, 1 minute is too less. So attention span myth busted. What I mean to say is, yes, we having shorter attention spans, but it could be conquered. Kampala, year 2002. I was a dean of a B school in Jamnagar. I could not recruit people. I could not get I was just age 26. AICTE granted me 6 extension, taking 3 hours interviews. You are not a PhD, you are just 26, how can you run in B school? And I landed here. And I went by bus because I like to rough it out. Unless you smell and unless you have a worm's eye view, you've not been to a country. So I went and I landed here. This is the place, and these are called matatus there. There is no public transport. These are high-ace Japanese recycled, reconditioned vehicles drive people. Can you see this? Now, I was wondering, what if a car or a vehicle at the back has to move and it cannot move because of this jam? And then came the native African instinct. And then I asked this person, how does it work? He said, it works seamless. We don't need computers. We don't need just in time. Or, so he said, in Africa, it happens shit way. What is shit? And what is jit? So shit is somehow in time. Okay? And we pay a lot of price for JIT just in time. So in Africa, it works this way, and it was proven. And when I took a Google picture of the same place, there is a method to the madness. There is native instinct in Africa. There is native instinct that works, and you see this beautiful, and each of them works seamlessly, and they're on time. Of course, they miss by few minutes, which is usual. They call it TIA. When you say you're not on time, chill, take a chill pill. This is Africa. Okay? So I learned patience in Africa, and I'm much happier. Amazing. So now, Safal Group operates in steel space in Africa, 6 decades. And we are largest manufacturers of steel roofing and building products. I head the learning, training, development function there. We operate in 12 countries, but my study would show only 6 countries as of now. But to give you the context and the challenge, I'll quickly run through this. Our countries which I am citing are Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, South Africa, Ethiopia, Rwanda. So once I go for a board meeting, piggy riding that, I do some training. So what are the cultural implications for data-driven learning? I put this up. This is my view. All generalizations are wrong, including the one I'm making now. Please understand, this is my view. I am not typecasting a country. This is my research. Now, on change readiness, we have high, medium, low. Kenya, high. Uganda, high. Rwanda, high. Rwanda is very high. It's, by the way, the Rwanda's ease of doing business is less than 30. Rwanda, a country that emerges from genocide, the most modern genocide. More than 2 million people were killed in 1994. Watch Hotel Rwanda. That country is emerging and it's impressing me. It's impressing me like it's a Europe in Africa. So Rwanda, high. Power distance. How much the juniors allow the seniors to have unequal share of power and resources. Again, power distance, we have high, medium, low, all of them. Cultural context, Africa is very high cultural context. That means shared experiences, how it was being done. So the baggages of legacy are huge, and you cannot change. So again, diversity there. In terms of appetite for knowledge, again, high, medium, low, I have. Current capability, again, I have high, medium, low. So we have a lot of diversities. And again, South Africa being there, again, recovering from a 2-decade-old apartheid, end of apartheid. Again, dual culture over there. The whites and there are three basically distinct. The whites, the native Africans, and the Indians. The largest contingent of India, outside India, 2.2 million is nations, but something called BBBEE, broad-based black economic empowerment. Now, I have this context which is so difficult. Second is the IT preparedness. Now, the first time in Tanzania when I landed, I'm based in Tanzania looking after the other places, I was sending internal mails. We had 2 dual mails. One was internal mails, that means your mails can't go outside, and there was the other ones, few seniors had external mails. Now, I used to send mails informing, and I am a person of pre-reads and inviting them for training. In the sense, are you ready? If you want to learn, then come and enroll, do a process. That means you pre-read, you do a small test, and you prove it with your manager that you want it. Triangular accountability, otherwise I don't train. No training is better than a forced training, I believe so. So I used to do that, no response to the mails, and the first humbling experience, I had to actually run with my laptop around and say that, listen, I send you this mail. So first thing, hey, Bhavesh, how's your cow, how's your this thing? They remember everything. And then they say, last time you didn't play well football, I play football and I play with. And then they say, okay, I have to read a mail? Do I have to read a mail? And I used to say that if I don't get a mail from my boss, I would be worried I'm dispensable now. And they don't care. Now that was Africa. That was Tanzania. They don't read mails. Now that's my challenge. In Ethiopia, we have only one internet provider, the state. And they switch off any time. So if I was doing this in Ethiopia, it was a nightmare. So on 28th of August, I was speaking at the SHRM conference over there, training first-time managers. The internet blasted. Then that's Africa for you. Now, another key piece is our expatriates have inherent motivation not to pass on knowledge, because it is through this hoarding of knowledge they become relevant. And the other side is a negative vicious circle that the locals don't inspire the expatriates to want to share willingly, because they don't show appetite. Now these all are unfavorable. Knowledge sharing doesn't happen. And my wife and my mission is to skill Africa. That's our purpose. We love it. She's a teacher and I am a trainer. And we want to build homegrown steel professionals. I started a lot of programs. We just won an award day before yesterday. And our efforts are grooming local talent there. And we are building them. Now, with this context, the challenges, I've already recited few of them. Learners availability, budgets, national expatriates don't want to share, trainers availability, recall memory, impact data, and like we can't measure the agriculture tax in India because the cure is worse than death. Isn't it? We can't measure impact data over there. And here we are trying to create homegrown steel African professionals because that's a sustainable way of doing business. We are still travelers there. We are aliens. We are expatriates over there. So we want to build local talent. Now in this context, what do we do? So we had two requirements. One was steel fundamental, my friend. Steel fundamental. What is HRC? What is CRC? What is annealing and pickling? What is our value chain? Now that knowledge we need to give to everybody. So what did we do with that? I'll just cite you an example. So we know the forgetting curve. The forgetful curve is Ebbinghaus forgetting curve. In 1 hour, you already lost 50. So whatever you're getting it, in 1 hour, you would have forgotten half of what I told you, except the jokes you remember. All right. So how do you beat that? With memory retention, by giving booster doses. So you all know spaced repetition. Anybody's heard about spaced repetition? Spaced repetition? Very good. Thank you, brother. Okay. So what is this tool we used? Cerego. We're using Cerego. By the way, J.R. West in Japan is using Cerego for training their bullet train conductors. And I believe at 300 kilometers, it is fair to have safety norms, isn't it? So they're using it. So that's one example why they're using Cerego. So what is this DARPA, Distributed Adaptive Retrieval Practice Algorithm? What is this? What is the science behind this? I'll quickly do this for you. Basically, it deals with, it measures through machine learning what you know and what you don't know. So you ask a question first, and you have to answer whether you know it or not. So you say you know it, then they'll unfold the answers, and they'll check whether you really know it or not. And if you say you don't know it, they'll teach that concept, and then again ask you. So those which you knew it well, they will space it at a far frequency, and those you did not know it, they'll space repetitions at more closer frequency. Simple logic. Likely to memorize a song, we need to listen to the song again and again. Of course, the song should be sexy, number one. Secondly, you listen to it again and again and again. So now what this tool does is, it shows you the same song in a remix format. Okay, with the slow, fast, they change the characters. They have Dilbar coming with Nora Fatehi, or they get Dilbar coming with our Susmita Sen, based on the genre you decide. So that's how it gives in a short way. So it creates optimal schedule to build and retain knowledge. Number two, it deals with distributed learning, means bite size again and again. It deals with retrieval practice. What is retrieval practice? Is it uses multiple assessments. Sometimes the multiple choice, sometimes the fill in the blanks, sometimes is identify or match the following or identify the pictures. So because you vary assessments, your brain has to struggle for the same knowledge point, and ultimately you can memorize. And the last part is amazing, desirable difficulty. It's like the rubber band concept. Rubber band works only when it's stretched. So it poses the question just before you're about to forget. Okay? So your neural networks are activated in order to remember it. And when you struggle to remember, you have multiple inputs to kind of remember it. So that's Cerego, and that's why you have long-term memory. So what was my target? In order to get my steel fundamentals, my basics in place, memorization game, we delegated to Cerego. So we use Cerego. It has amazing authoring tool. This is our steel roof, typical roof fundamentals. 16 pieces of roof anatomy, we were unable to teach them. This is ROE and ROI, my friend. We were unable to teach them for 4 long years. And now, with 16 sessions, we have a 70% retention. Amazing. Because it's pictorial, and that's ROI. Okay, and by the way, if Peter learns faster, or Peter is required in the sales function, he needs to know higher level, I can set a difficulty level of 3. And if Bhavesh in L&D can get away bullshitting, then I can set a difficulty level of 0.5. So the same stuff, I can have different sets of difficulty levels. That can be done. Now that's my first takeaway. How do I give my wisdom on L&D function to go to digital journey? What do we do? My take is very reverse. My take is simple. African native wisdom. We saw the data in wisdom. Okay. Can I get these answers? Okay. On your screen you will see this. The question is this: which one would you prefer for executing L&D programs in VUCA world? Okay. To be accurately right with accurate data, which is time consuming, demand resources and money, right, slow and costly, or to be vaguely right, not precisely wrong, quick, affordable, and move on. What does the house say about this? So unless you are in ISRO, ceteris paribus, unless you are in ISRO or health industry, you need to be accurate. I'm talking about general stuff. So you would want to move on with speed to be the option 1, accurate and go slow, or to be not precisely wrong but vaguely right and make it happen. So what do you think is the house saying over there? Overwhelmingly, now my pitch is simple. My principle in life is to be vaguely right and not precisely wrong. And in African context, in my industry, which is not ISRO or pharmaceutical, we are fine. We collect wisdom. I use Hypersay in rolling out a culture enhancement program where 3 things are very important. Number 1, my principle, people support what they help create. So how do I capture people's voice, live, real time, and show it? So we use Hypersay. Around here, accountability means what? So people ask, okay, if we had the best of accountability, what is one thing you will do today? People will say. So these are our change inputs. Then my change influencers will work through our change model, or how to get them those ones. So what we did, we had a template of 16 change points, but how those change points would fall out in Ethiopia was different than in South Africa, wasn't different than in Kenya. But who decided that? Last mile was decided by people support what they help create by using Hypersay, simple wisdom. So the third point what you asked me was how to capture formal and informal data, and that's what we do, informal data through this, the voice of the people capturing tools. So I go on a contrarian call, generate insights from the available resources. Your people who are empowered, they know more than the research. Yes, the center of excellence, what we do is we ring fence the level of, and we give them choice as a drop down, and within those choices, we allow them to swing it. Plus also we have one more, any other thing. So if there is an any other thing and a lot of voice coming under any other thing, then we will add that as our standard offering. So another pitch what I tell LnD function is, it's important that we crunch the delivery time. It's very important we crunch and we show up and we show. And best is enemy of good, please understand. If we try to get it right at the first go, let's step as we move ahead. So you have a good show first, not surely a bad show, and then improvise as we move further. Okay, PwC's report, Adapt to Survive in Digital Space, says a talent mismatch is there. Now that talent mismatch means we are not digitally competent. Now if that talent mismatch is already costing 150 billion per year in revenue, and that was in 2014. Now if we have a talent mismatch, like my friend says, that means we are not digitally competent. Now what is one thing you would want to do in your LnD function to avoid that quantum of loss? Can we have a 2V? Avoid it. Can we have, you don't have to key in send, there is no send button on Hypersay. As you type it will be visible. Cultural, we used Cerego. What we use is spaced repetition, desirable level of difficulty. So we use that technique of Cerego to get people memorized. And in case of softer issue, we use people support what they help create and use informal data points, real time online, and capture it from people, and we drive our learning function. So that's how we do. Let me show you, I can email you this answers what you gave, but I can just quickly show the answers. Okay, can you read this? Yes, it is too late. LnD to connect with business needs, rigorous assessment, upskill, da-da-da, da-da-da. What I'll do is, I had some research done by Beeb Akiva, regional director of CCL in Africa. He had worked on anti-fragile organization in digital disruption. He's done his PhD and he's worked a lot. I borrowed a couple of his quotes and his strategies around having strategic agility and having learning agility and the points thereof. The key takeaway from there is you need a task force for digitalization, task force team, and the biggest error we HR people and training people make is subordinate that task force to current CEO. What he says is do not subordinate that task force to current CEO, taking your point, the shelf life of CEO is too short for him to invest, the trade-off between current denial and long-term gratification. So what he says is get that task force report to the board, which is more enduring and has a more currency of tenure. So that is equivalent to CEO, and only then you will have digital dividends, otherwise you will have digital disruptions. Thank you. Africa wishes you well. And I am conscious to your time. Thank you for allowing me this. I'll share you and make this available to you.
Thank you so much, Bhavesh, for those insights. Could I request Deep to hand over a memento of the occasion to Bhavesh, please?